But yeah, when it comes to the whole South Park thing, I think that you are 100% right with the everything is gone. That's really funny. But
Yeah,
okay,
it's already
so
gone. He
starting
just
off into it.
he's
Yeah, like
already
it.
removed the tariffs on everyone except China.
Yeah, so tariffs last episode doesn't matter. Not really, because we did
Yeah.
talk a lot about too, like, hey, I don't actually know if this guy is gonna go. I don't know what the strategy is, so I don't know if we're gonna necessarily analyze it a lot because I don't know if this is actually gonna last. Or like it just
Yeah.
didn't make any sense.
No.
Made so little sense that they didn't last. Which I guess
Exactly.
makes sense.
It's because our
Because I was
bond
like, look,
market started collapsing. Did you see that?
yeah,
That's what
I
made him
did. Like,
flinch. It'd
well, and
be,
the dollar still, I believe, dropped in some value
yeah, it's because
from
I
what I
think
seen today.
Japan started selling off their bonds, which means they
Oh, and I
started
think
losing
China did
faith in,
too.
well, of course, China. But
Yeah, and
it's
I
never a good
think
sign because it means they lose faith in the country, basically.
yeah. Oh yeah, no, I mean that's you're buying bonds because of the economic stability of that
You
country.
have the United
So if you
States.
start messing with that stability too much,
Mm-hmm.
I guess it kind of I guess that does make sense from their perspective. Well, and they have to I don't know if they should answer, but at the same time I think China has a lot more ways to mess with us. We don't have a lot of manufacturing
No, and I think,
capacity.
I don't know where, because I think the right still thinks of China as the 90s, and they're not. They're so much
Yeah,
more, like, they're going to get destroyed by this. They can last a lot longer than people think. They've centralized their
no, it's
whole
true.
economy. We don't even it's because it's a hypothetical, but it's kicking it now. We don't even really know. Like, China might be able to survive this, thrive through it. We don't know. China's never went through anything like this, so we're about to find out just how their
Well,
centralized economy and building has worked.
that's
So
a good point. Yeah, like we'll see if it even works. Like if
yeah,
we even know that this centralized planning. Well, and I think I was watching something the other day. I can't remember who it was, but they were talking about how the model that we used against Russia, like sanctions wise, and that was actually like a really decent roadmap for the Chinese.
yeah,
Basically, like, well, this is exactly what it would look like if America cut you off.
mm-hmm,
So like they kind of had a perfect example of like what mistakes not to make and how to deal with it. Because that was the other thing with Russia was this was the same argument with Russia really. Like, well, because everybody was wondering why is there no new tariffs on Russia? It's like, well, because they're sanctioned. Like you
yeah. We
can't.
can't even trade with
There's no
them really.
tariff. Yes, exactly. There's no tariff because there's nothing being traded. But
Yeah,
that was supposed to collapse them. Do you remember that argument? The
yeah,
argument was we don't even really need to walk troops in because the U.S. economy is just so strong that them having no connection is just going to mess everything up. And
yeah.
that just didn't happen.
No, and China's way stronger than Russia is, especially
Yep.
economically wise and centralized wise. Like, they've kind of set
Yes.
up for this because they
They really are. Like, we're not set up for big moves from like
no,
one person.
we could get there, but it's not gonna happen overnight, and we're gonna feel it bad at first.
Yeah, like in
So it's
the whole short-term pain message,
mm-hmm.
I think is they're maybe doing a better job at communicating that, but I don't know if they have the industrial policy to go with the tariffs. Like usually it's like,
Yeah,
well, we're gonna do these tariffs and then we're gonna fund
the
these
industrial,
projects.
yeah, but it's like small businesses, like, yeah, they dropped all those other tariffs down, but the China tariffs are the biggest ones for small businesses, and China's
Yeah,
getting wrecked by tariffs. And I've seen people that were like a small business owner was saying she had a $30,000 order that's now like 200 grand because of the tariffs, and it's like, holy hell.
see, I saw a lot of people that was like, this kills drop shipping. Like
Oh
drop
yeah,
shipping as a business model is
dead.
dead. Yeah.
It's
I
dead. There's
mean
no
until
way.
it draws back.
Yeah, and Sheen and
I know
Timu are in rough too. They're all those Sheen and Timu lovers.
yes, and Alibaba and
Yeah.
really Amazon. I mean, I think it's like
Hmm.
50% of everything that's sold on Amazon is from China or something as well.
Yeah, I
So
didn't even know that. That's insane. Yeah, it's like
yeah.
he dropped the other tariffs, but the China ones are probably the most important, like legitimately the most important ones, because that's
Which
where we buy from.
yep, we set it up as a system to be like a mass consumer,
Yeah.
and they are like our vassal state
Mm-hmm.
for the labor. We like chopped off the bottom of our pyramid
Yeah.
and was like, what if we're all managers
The
and we're just managing like the workers across the ocean?
globe, yeah. And it's
Except,
except that's
oh, go ahead.
that's basically how we've gotten to the point we are, is sourcing all of our
Yeah,
workers over there and stuff. But that's also the
yeah.
Democrats in the '90s' fault again. But
Yep, Democrats in the 90s, and I think you had a lot of other Democrats like made more progressive at the time, kind of arguing for a tariff type of thing. And I guess I much rather be more focused on China than a global trade war
yeah,
because that one we talked about it, it didn't make any sense, and
no,
I think we were proven out to be right. Like
yeah,
I think our like,
yeah. I
hey,
mean,
this isn't gonna work. So I don't know what the plan is. Well, the plan is just we're just gonna drop them again.
yeah,
Now he did keep like a 10%
on all of them.
tariff kind of on all of them, which
Yeah,
eh, I think is now it's supposed to be a 90-day pause. So one thing with that is, does that mean that it's gonna come back?
yeah. I don't know if you heard him today. He was saying 90 deals in 90 days.
I
Whatever.
mean
That's a lot to do
that is a
though.
lot. It is a lot. Now, I'm okay with them actually pursuing this direction if they think they could pull it off. Because I am a believer sometimes on like, well, the government, like, I feel like we focus more on the elections than what the government's actually doing. I was thinking about
Yeah,
this
we
the other
do.
day.
Yeah, when
Like,
you
it's
more people
never
are,
like, are they actually doing anything?
yeah, so many more people focus on like the president and stuff when it's election season. They never care about like right now, like what's actually going on. Although I
Yeah,
do think a
once they
lot of
elected,
people are
like, we
starting
did
to,
it.
they're starting to see it now though because it's affecting them. They don't really
Yeah, like
notice until it
affecting them
actually
directly.
affects them. Yeah.
Same thing with like all those farmers contracts and that,
Hmm.
which, we can go into the Doge stuff, wasn't totally on the docket. That is funny though, and I can't remember who I saw talk about this either. I need to start writing down who I'm citing. But if you look at Elon Musk right now, like no one's really paying attention to him anymore. Like the Doge thing has kind of become pretty secondary
Yeah, has he
to
even been
the
doing anything lately?
I think he still is. Now, he came out and started supporting Trump, which he's
Yeah.
never been a tariff guy. Like,
Yeah.
Elon's definitely always been kind of well, he's a true, I would say more technocratic, like
Yeah, he wants
libertarian.
free
Like,
trade. Like
yes, yeah,
complete free
exactly.
trade.
Well,
Zero,
his
zero,
entire business
everything.
model,
Yeah. And it just doesn't work.
it's,
It doesn't work. That's billionaires want it because they're gonna make so much more money, and they can just start going over the globe and taking over their
yep,
businesses.
yep. And there's no limitations on them if they don't have any limitations on the labor, which is kind of the argument again for the tariffs of like, well, it's not only that we're trying to bring American manufacturing, but like, should we be taking so much business like from a slave vassal
Yeah.
state, essentially,
Hmm. Which that's because I mean, basically we've done to South America. Like that's the reason we're so unbelievably rich, too, is we've just made South America a vassal continent, basically. That's why they're
Well,
all third
and
world countries down there. They have the capacity to get to the first world, but we're just like, no, we need it. We need those. That's our material now.
no, you're right. Like that
Yeah.
is completely true. I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and they had brought up that I think like 50% of the crime or something crazy is committed in South America. Like the
Yeah.
details on that stat might
Dude,
not be
Brazil,
totally,
I'm
but
pretty sure Brazil's bad. It's like,
Brazil is the most dangerous
yeah,
country in the world.
I don't know the exact numbers, but it's like one in like every 38 per capita. There's like a murder. It's just crazy, the number.
That's nuts. That is like, yeah, the entire thing is that is. I think you brought up a good line of thought, which
Yeah.
is this is the whole argument right now between more establishment forces and goobers online is kind of, well, do you think that America is the initial causer of a
Yeah.
lot of this, or are they reacting to like a corrupt people? And I think,
I don't
not
know
to
if you
say
can
that
say
people on there are an
corrupt.
agency, but
Yeah, corrupt people's hard because that's basically them just saying, "Oh, the whole population's messed up." Like
exactly. That's literally the
it's
argument.
corrupt America. It's America starting a lot of stuff. We've always
Yeah,
it might not it might be the CIA, which is still America, but CIA usually just used to do whatever they wanted.
they still do. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
they operate. I mean, like they got rid of US aid, which is I think 0.5% of the entire budget or something. Like that
Yeah.
was supposed to be a slush fund for the CIA, but they still have plenty, and they're increasing. They want to increase the defense budget to like $1 trillion.
Yeah, they're increasing defense budget by 250 billion, which is crazy.
Or yeah, not by $1 trillion, but like to $1 trillion, which I'm
Yeah.
sure it's already there anyways.
It's already been there probably for
Like
a long time. Yeah.
that argument has always really bothered me that you're not
Yeah.
allowed to audit it because of security reasons. Like, I guess I kind of get it, but
Yeah, but then it's like, well, how much are you guys actually spending? I still
yeah,
think
like,
it's trillions of dollars. Trillions. There's
yeah,
no
like
way it's
multiples of, yeah.
there's no way it's only like what they were saying, like 750 billion. They do like testings on their ships and shoot shells, and they spend $1 billion in 10 minutes.
It's true. Yeah, you're right. Like, have you ever seen those videos of the ammunition counters
Yeah,
on
it's
like a
insane.
live firing? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
battleship shells are like $1 million a shell. It's insane.
Well, and hey, talk about all the money we just spent blowing up people in Yemen. Like, how
Yeah,
much does that cost? So
hundreds
everybody
of
wants to talk
million.
about we're opening up,
Yeah.
opening up shipping lanes. How much did we make off of those boats going through those shipping lanes?
Did you see too that it says that the U.S. has already spent like hundred, or it's, I think we've almost spent $1 billion already bombing Yemen, and it's done like barely anything.
Did you
Like,
see Drop Site News just did some reporting where they basically talked to like one of the heads of the Houthis, and they basically said that they will stop attacking U.S. ships if the U.S. quits bombing. They said they won't stop attacking Israel, but they
yeah,
will stop attacking American ships. So now we have to find out, like, well, does America mean Israel and America's ships, or do they
yeah.
mean America's ships?
It's like, well, I don't know, because did you that other? I mean, I sent you the article the other day. The U.S. government released that they're watching all like illegal immigrants or even immigrants' cell phones for anti-Semitism now. Did you see that?
Really?
Yeah, it was on the. They passed. It was an executive order, I think, and they're going to be watching all social medias for anti-Semitism. Of they said aliens on the document, but
Yeah, dude.
I don't know
See,
about
like,
using
what?
that.
I believe that. I have
No, I
that.
sent
That
it to
is.
you. It's
This
in our
sounds
text
like
messages.
yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
and it's
No.
from like .gov everything, like our actual government website.
See, that is ridiculous.
Yeah,
What a silly.
I
Well,
seen it.
all that stuff with immigration is
Yeah,
crazy.
and
Like
they're
with
trying to
Israel.
like if you read articles a lot of time, it just says they're looking at their cell phones. But when you click on it, the actual article, it's like they're trying to hide it, and you go into it, it says they're trying to hide it or look at it for anti-Semitism. Not even stuff about America, just anti-Semitism.
That's what I was just gonna say. I was like, okay, so there's no, which I guess they would probably argue, well, there's already rules on the books for people that are like terroristic towards the United States or
Yeah.
something like that. It's like, yeah, but why even
Why does it matter
pass
about
it? Well,
Israel? And it's not even like
yes,
they're making
yeah,
terroristic threats. It was just like saying bad stuff. Like it's like what in the? It's crazy.
that's
It's
nuts.
crazy.
I I had no idea about that one, but it makes a lot of sense because
Hmm.
they are, for whatever reason, obsessed with Israel. We
Yeah, I
can
don't know.
get,
You know.
a little too conspiratorial with. You see, that's the thing though. That's the trick. So the trick is anytime you criticize Israel, the country, it
Is
is
it?
you're promoting like a conspiracy
Yeah.
against like Jewish people. And it's
Mhm.
like I think pointing out that hey, this smaller country population wise and economic wise has like an outsized influence on our government based on APAC and based
Yeah.
on
But what we're doing,
different
it's
funding
pretty
sources.
obvious. What we're doing is just insane. It literally doesn't make any sense. Any
Yeah,
like
I've heard this before.
you bring any other president, they're gonna be like, "What is happening?" Like brought back the president from the dead, like FDR. He's gonna be like, What is going on?"
Well, and I think even back then, or like I think
Yeah.
you
Well,
know Kennedy, there was a lot of that stuff
we
too.
did form Israel after the war. We gave them their stuff back.
Yep, we for now, and then that kind of gets more into the Israel-Palestine thing,
Yeah.
which is a super complicated
Yeah,
conflict.
because it
And
goes back
I think,
thousands of years. Yeah, in all actuality,
yep, it goes all the way back to like Jerusalem,
it's back to the
and
Crusades. Yeah,
yes, yeah. That,
it's a lot.
so I think there's two ways to look at that, where it's you can look at it like retaliatory actions, or you can kind of look at well, who's done the most recent action and how brutal is it?
It's been most of the time it's Israel. It's almost always
Yep.
like the first action was when they killed 15,000 Palestinians a long time ago. I don't even remember when. That's kind of what kickstarted a lot of it. Was they killed like 15,000 Palestinians, and then this is where the whole conflict started rising from. Uh-huh.
But they had to do that because they were Hamas, even
Yeah.
though Hamas was funded
By Israel.
by Israel.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like
It's the same
it's
exact. It
crazy.
is literally the same exact argument that they've been using for like 20 years, and I can't believe people. I've heard this script. This was literally the Iraq script. It's like, well, we have to go in.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's
we
like, no, we
have
don't.
to. Yeah,
We don't have to
kill
fund
like
it
all these
either.
innocent people. Yes, yeah, we don't have to fund it. I don't care if they're necessarily fighting.
Yeah.
Because fine, if you want to say there's, both parties are to blame. Okay, well, Israel still has a way higher GDP and budget than
Yeah.
Palestine does, anyways.
Yeah, and they're like way more powerful, and they've leveled Palestinian basically all their homes to the ground. There's nothing left. There's just nothing left.
Yeah, what? Yeah, how is that precision? Like, how is that? Like, they literally. This is just a proven. This is not conspiratorial. This is literally just proven on the ground reporting. Like, hey, we got like 2 terrorists in this building. You want to just level the place? And it's like, yeah, sure.
What was that one? It was like they saw his girlfriend. Like his girlfriend's walking to a building, level it.
That was the signal chat.
Yeah, and
that
it's like,
was
what
the
do you
Houthi
mean?
bombing.
Oh yeah, it's like that's insane.
They were like, see, and that's proven. That's a really good one to bring up because then people can actually see that. Like, you don't believe it. Like, you don't believe that that's their mentality. Like, that is literally what they said in.
There's a account that like tweets about like when they kill Hamas and shit. And they tweeted the other day that the grandson of a Hamas leader was dead. He's 2 years old, and they were celebrating that. And it's like, Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. Dude, see, yeah, they've literally killed. It's like, oh, well, we've killed their entire family lineage, so we don't need to worry about retaliation. It's like, that's
insane.
Insane. Yeah. Like,
that's what the Nazis were trying to do. You kill everyone, there is no retaliation.
Yes. It's like a giant camp. And then that argument which, we could bring it up a little bit. I know that you've seen some clips about it. I watched the whole thing, but Douglas Murray, Dave Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Dave crushed Douglas Murray on this whole thing, but it's 100% true where Douglas Murray goes, you said that it's like a concentration camp. And he's like, I said it has a lot of characteristics. He's like, well, you haven't been on the ground to the blockade. It's like, look, dude, I don't need to go on like a BB sightseeing trip. Like, I couldn't imagine saying that about like North Korea. Like, well, you claim to be an expert about North Korea, but like, have you actually seen the North Korean South Korean border with your own eyes? And it's like, well, no. And I'm
Why
sure
does that even matter?
You're gonna get it doesn't.
Because if you would want to go into the country, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like if you went to North Korea, I would say you'd have worse like if you went to North Korea.
Yeah, they're gonna know you're there
about their history. Yeah. Like that's gonna be worse information.
Yeah, they're gonna know you're there, and they're not gonna let you see anything.
Exactly. You are seeing a like sightseeing, but
Yeah.
when Israel does it, suddenly it's like, oh, that's definitely the blockade.
Yeah, and that was the reason the peace treaty got broke, is Israel started not letting humanitarian aid in the
Yeah,
ceasefire,
exactly.
and then Israel's
Exactly.
like, no, it's Hamas's fault. And it's like, no, it's not. They had nothing. They couldn't do anything else. You were starving
Yeah,
them.
what are they supposed to do?
Yeah, like they had to do something.
And then when they're
So
like, oh, well, what about the Egyptians? Or like, what about their neighbors? It's like, yeah, yeah. I think they're all culpable. I'm not saying that like
yeah,
Egypt is like a good country either, but is that our standard?
yeah, does it make them go live there?
Yeah, like is our standard Egypt standard or is the
Yeah,
standard the United States standard of
yeah.
diplomatic, order or whatever?
Hmm.
I
That's
couldn't
what I
imagine
hate. Like, it's on the like when they were arguing about criminals, they're like, well, gang cartels and gangs don't give their victims due process, and it's like, okay, so the United States is now comparing themselves to a cartel member,
Yes,
and that's
exactly.
why they
That's that
shouldn't get
when
due process. That's
yeah,
insane.
Tom Ullman I think said that on CNN or
Yeah,
CNBC or something like that, and he was like, yeah, he made that argument that, well, where's the due process for the victims? And it's like, that's not how that works. Like,
yeah,
funny you brought
no,
that up, actually, because the people that murdered the people you're talking about did go to life in prison
yeah,
after they had due process. So
yeah.
it's like in Riley, like the horrible victims that you want to bring up, they did have due process.
Hmm. Yeah, they
And
did.
I think what bothers me about that is the immigration numbers haven't even went
No, they're not
like
even
up
that
for
good.
Biden.
They're not that good,
Yeah.
really, and we don't even know if they're being truthful, because every time they do those deportation planes or whatever, it's only like a few hundred people. It's not even that many.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're sending them to horrific
Yeah,
places, and now judges are ordering them to bring it back. I am a supporter of the immigration thing, but if you're not going to come up with a way to increase the speed of our process, and instead
yeah,
try to just have no process, because oh yeah, this is sure faster. Yeah, sending it to the
yeah,
Supreme Court and then
yeah,
challenging it and then having all these legal fights and then all this attention on it. Like, is that really
yeah.
efficient?
Because the
That
Supreme Court,
government
and
efficiency
it's
work?
crazy because I don't even know, but if this is true, but I'm pretty sure that, well, this is true. The Supreme Court ruled that like that we do have to bring that Maryland dude back. Like we have to get him.
Yes.
And Donald Trump basically just said, "We'll see."
It's like, what are you talking
What do you
about?
mean
Like,
we'll
he
see?
didn't, yeah, like he didn't have any trial. Like, there was no process. Like,
Yeah,
there is a process for illegal immigrants.
yeah, and the Supreme Court ruled it at this point, so he's just gonna start. It's bad if he starts ignoring them.
Yeah, we've talked about that before on the ignoring the courts thing. Like,
Yeah,
what happens if he starts doing that? Which I don't think he will.
yeah, I don't either, but
But
who
at the
knows?
same time, yeah, who knows at this point, because they
He's
are going
willing
to
to.
start.
He's done everything else. You never know.
Well, I'm sure you've heard, maybe you haven't, but a right wing argument, I guess the steel man, maybe this isn't the steel man for this argument, but I believe the steel man of the argument is you need the executive to have this power over, basically, you're giving the power of the country to like an ideologue, like a judge in some random district court. Like, you're giving them more power than the executive,
Yeah,
is their argument. But
but then you
I
got like
disagree with
Hitler.
that argument
Yeah,
because
because Hitler
it's
didn't have any of
branches of
that, and
government.
look what happened.
Yeah,
That's well, he
yeah,
got rid of those. Like Germany did have those, Congress, Senate, and all, and then he was just like, no, I'm the executive
yeah.
power.
Checks and balances were destroyed, and like
Yeah,
I agree with, we do have to have something. We do have to do something with the speed thing. I don't
yeah,
know exactly what that. I know what a little bit of it looks like, but it's all the Pentagon.
yeah, 100%.
Like,
And a lot of our fucking, or a lot of our Senate is lazy. A lot of our Senate is just lazy as hell. They won't like a lot. Have you watched those voting? Like when they're voting and stuff, a lot of them just don't even show up.
dude, that's so true. Some of them won't do a vote for like 4 months,
Yeah, because they just
and
don't
you're like,
show up.
I couldn't imagine doing that in my job.
Yeah, dude, what was that? We had one. Wasn't there a girl in the Senate who literally had dementia and she was just missing for like 3 months? And she was
Yeah,
just missing.
she like passed away in office. What was her name? Was it Diane Feinstein?
I think it
That
was Feinstein.
sounds right. Let me double check,
Then
but
she was
I
just.
could be.
They're like, "Where is she?" And she's just been gone for like 3 months, and they just found her in a nursing home.
Yes, Diane Feinstein, dude. She lived to be like what, 90? 90
Yeah,
years.
and she was still in our
It
Senate. Why? And she had dementia.
because it's the fear of the other party thing.
Yeah.
And this is the whole, like, I guess, two-party argument, which I don't know if it's not, to me, it's not really a two-party argument. It's the barrier of entry argument. Like, why is she still there? It's like, well, because all of the money that's
Hmm.
been propping her up
Yeah.
is still giving her that money. So then her
Hmm.
campaign still just has more money than like any regular person or whatever. And
Yeah.
so that's how she ends up just
Winning.
staying there. It's the same thing with Glitch McConnell. Shout
Yeah.
out to Glitch, dude. He's just,
He's just voting no on everything too. He's just like, I don't
yes,
care anymore. It
which is really funny because it's
is.
like, oh, boo hoo. Because you know what it is?
I think it's funny too because
This
him
is,
and Trump just go at it. Because Trump just hates
yeah,
it so much, and Mitch just keeps voting no. He's just no.
which of course he keeps saying no because it's not really conservative policy, which I'm
No.
okay with. Like I
Yeah.
think that is the appeal to Trump, is that it's like, well, this ain't George Bush's Republican Party,
Yeah.
and,
And George.
and
Yeah.
I'm really happy that Mitch McConnell got to live to see like the collapse of the Republican order that he created.
Yeah. Because he did so much to help create all of this, blocking
Yep.
like votes, blocking. He was a menace back in the Obama administration and stuff. He was a
Yeah,
menace.
like he has been one of the main drivers of globalization and
Hmm.
free trade and liberalism, and that, like,
Even
this
private
is,
healthcare,
yeah,
like making
true.
it worse on people. It's been Mitch McConnell because he didn't want Obamacare, and he's still been trying to get rid of it. He tried for so
Yes.
long, and then
Yep.
John
And he was
McCain,
voting against, yeah,
legend John
yeah, John
McCain.
McCain. Oh man, dude, that to me, that's like, still, I know we talked about this, that's still one of the biggest blunders against Trump, is
Yeah,
not bringing that quote up more.
yeah,
I
one
mean, to
hundred
say
percent.
that
I can't
John
believe he's just
McCain is
is
not
a
a war hero
yeah
because
when
he
he
was captured.
which that's the worst thing that can happen to you in a war and survive it still is crazy.
Yeah,
Like the
to get
Vietnamese
captured and
torture
tortured for your
methods too.
country.
He fought in Vietnam, right? Not Korea, right? Oh yeah, Vietnam. The Vietnamese torture methods were insane. Insane.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, yeah, the whole death pit thing, like they get two
Yeah.
American citizens to fight over a spike pit, and then the spike pit's full of like animal. It just,
It was
yeah,
insane.
that's awful. And
Yeah.
he, a lot of people say like he dodged the draft because the bone spurs thing. I mean,
Trump?
yes, like I
Oh,
think that
didn't
that
Trump pay
is
someone to
kind
go
of
to the
true.
draft for him?
Kinda, yeah. But that's what a lot of rich people's kids did, and I'm
Yeah.
not saying that's right. But like,
What happened in the
I
Civil
don't
War
know if that was
too?
necessarily his decision. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Rich people's kids have always kind of, but then to make a criticism of somebody that actually
Yeah.
went, that's where
Especially
then
if you were
you can
drafted and
criticize
you
them.
dodged. Because, well, I don't really know if he did. I don't think anyone knows truly if he did. That's just the rumor, is he did dodge.
Exactly. Like the argument is that because he got like the no over bone spurs, and it's like, well, you had bone spurs, but you could play football, blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, but I know from personal experience that it's like
Yeah, but I could play
I have
football
like
with my eyesight, and I couldn't join the military.
exactly. That's just what I was gonna say. I was like, I have like scoliosis and I could play football, but like, yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know if like the Air Force would take me or whatever.
I don't think so, to be honest with you. Yeah, they have pretty
No.
strict restrictions. You got to be like, it's crazy. They want you like perfect blood, perfect bloodline,
Oh, and
basically.
I cannot stand that argument from people towards like younger people when it comes to health. Like, well, all the Americans are like fat and lazy and on drugs. So, like if we had a draft, like none of them could get ready. It's like first off, population can get ready for war pretty quick.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
I think people can go from fat and happy to if they're not fat and happy, pretty pissed off and ready to fight. So like
Yeah.
I think that argument is a little silly. Like I think
Hmm.
if the populace need to get ready, they'd get ready. But like they're the ones that led the food in this direction. Like all the food
Yeah, they did.
sucks
And
because of them. So
look at
why
our
are people unhealthy?
preservatives compared to like Europe and stuff. They won't even take our
Yeah.
food because their preservatives are insane.
Yes, which kind of ropes back into the tariff thing and the argument of like why you can't just blanket tariff everything without
Yeah.
having a strategy. Like you can't force Europe to take our beef if they don't want
No.
to, because
And
it
they
has
can't
nothing
take-
to do with cost.
And they can't take our Ford F-150s and stuff either because they're just not road safe there. They would have like that's why they don't take our vehicles. They don't meet road conditions like safeties there. So they
Yeah,
don't
that
take our
makes a
trucks
lot
and
of sense.
everything. And Trump's like they
That
need to
makes
buy
so
our
much
trucks and
sense.
stuff. They can't. Like they just can't.
Yeah. Yeah, like they have like emission standards or like size standards. Well, in European
Yeah.
streets and that are a lot more like
They're tight.
you know,
That's what they
walkable
say.
infrastructure type
Like-
of thing. Yeah.
They said there would be a lot more like hit and runs and shit. Like a lot more people get hit and killed by vehicles if they took our trucks and all that stuff. Because you wouldn't be able to see
that's
as well.
happening.
They're too big.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's happening in the United States. Yeah, exactly.
is.
Like our car fatalities have went up a ton from like big vehicles and that.
One of
'cause
our
big
friends
vehicle
just got
ownership.
hit by a big truck because he couldn't see him on a motorcycle.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes. Yeah. We have a personal friend who just got in a very bad car accident with this exact scenario of him
Yeah.
being on a motorcycle and a giant truck not seeing him and almost killing him. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy. I like child fatality is up a ton from that.
Yeah, and it's all because Americans just want bigger. They don't even care if it's better. They're always like bigger and better. No, they just want bigger. They don't care if it's better.
Yep. Yep, like the Tahoe. Well, and a lot of regulations in that, like there's higher safety standards for cars and stuff, so it kind of
Yeah.
encourages the manufacturers to
Mhm.
just so it's like you either increase the standards on the trucks as well, or you have to take
Yeah.
those regulations off the cars. But you can't
Yeah.
do both.
Also, they probably wouldn't be able to afford them because our vehicles are way more expensive than most vehicle markets. Like China's electrical vehicle market is, their electrical vehicles are so nice and they're so cheap. They're so cheap.
What
They're
a-
like 20K.
Yes.
It's crazy. And we would
And
have
they
them
built
here,
their
but
whole
Elon
national
Musk
infrastructure.
exists, you know.
Which he did make that like I think that it is sad what is happening to Tesla just because it's like man that is a US startup that actually makes like manufacturing in the US like product
Yeah.
here like really kind of kicked off the
Mhm.
electric car thing like was the first viable electric car so to see them start to lose that grip from just pure
Stupidity
incompetence
from
yeah,
Elon. Because it's all Elon's fault. He's just being he's being an asshole to everyone for no reason. Literally. It's like he's being an asshole to Europe. He's being an asshole to Canada. He's being an asshole to United States citizens that don't agree with every single thing Donald Trump says.
Yeah,
He's
I
just-
think he's been kind of exposed to be a bit of well, not a bit of a. Now they're all egomaniacs, and I
But
think
you have
know,
to be to get that rich. I'm sorry, but to get
Yes.
that rich, you have to do some shady stuff and just not care about human emotions. Because you got
that's
to
just
walk
kind of
through
how the
some
system's
people.
set up.
Yeah, it is. It's just capitalism.
Well, and then that's kind of the argument, like, is that capitalism or is it always going to end up in some type of form like that? Like, I always believe we're going to naturally kind of, up for whatever reason, for whatever monkey brain thing's going on up there, we tend to give those types of people positions of power. But can you kind of
I think it's because sometimes they just
Reduce.
have the balls to go do it.
exactly?
A lot of people have
Yeah, that's
anxiety
true.
and all their other stuff. If you're a psycho, you just don't feel anything because you just don't care. You just go do it.
No, you're right. And the United States is definitely not. I would not say that the smartest people in our country
Or
are the richest.
No.
Yeah. Oh,
No.
well, yeah. Or running
That's
the
what I've
government,
seen. It's so
exactly.
funny, like, because when Elon was talking about like rockets and like cars and stuff, everyone was like, we just believed him because we didn't know nothing about it. And then someone's like, then he started talking about software engineering, and I was like, this dude's a dumbass.
Yeah,
Like
like
he has
I
no
don't
idea what
think
he's talking
he.
about with software engineering. This was like a 20-year software engineer pro. He's like, he has no idea what he's talking about.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that. Well, and if you look
Yeah.
at his degrees, I mean, like the rocket stuff, I guess he has a little bit more of a. He has a physics degree and he has an economics degree, and that's kind of the areas he's
Yeah.
worked in, and like he does have programming experience and stuff, but. I think that Elon is more of an example or like it's a system problem. Like you take Elon out, then another Elon pops up. Or like it's
Well, you take
a
Elon out, you just
fundamental
have what's his face, Altman, Sam Altman.
Sam Altman. Yeah, exactly. What a little weasel, man. I
Yeah,
hate
I
how
don't even
he
know where he
oh
came
man.
from too. And now he's just up there too, chilling in the government, kind of. He's not
Yeah,
as bad
true.
with Musk, but he's just chilling.
I think he was also one of the PayPal guys. Same with like Peter
I think so.
Thiel,
Peter Thiel, dude,
and
is
Mark
horrifying.
Andreessen.
Peter Thiel is where
Yeah,
all these
which
stupid technocrat future ideas come from. And what they
yeah,
don't
no, you're right.
understand, what they don't understand is if they ever got that, like let's say they just split the US up four ways, the four biggest billionaires, right? Canada's taking them over immediately. They're getting invaded immediately by a country that knows what they're doing.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say maybe not Canada, but like
Russia,
a
China.
Chinese-backed Canada. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a
They're just
China or
immediately going to be
Russia
like, take
supplemented
them.
Canada. Yeah, probably.
They're going to be
It's
like, they don't know what
possible.
they're doing.
Yeah, they really want that true. That's always my holdup with because I like a lot of libertarian ideals, and I think we need like a
Yeah.
smaller. I'm a decentralized fan. I think we need to have smaller pyramids, but I still think we need to have pyramids. So I think that they
Mm,
want this completely destructed model, but then there's no national defense is the toughest part. Like you
yeah.
would have to the United States would essentially have to exist as like an enforcer of no rules. Like they would I
So
was
we'd
thinking
just
about
be
this the other day.
anarchists?
Yes, yes.
It'd
Like
just be
the
like,
only way for that to pull that off globally is if one country policed the rest of the world into like not having borders.
so it'd just be all out chaos.
Yes,
It would
yeah,
be it'd be
exactly.
every man for himself.
Yeah, they have this whole like, well, we need to make it based off of merit, but the problem is that's not how.
Every person has their own merit, though.
Yes, yeah,
Like
in different
morals,
ways. That yeah,
basically.
yeah, and morals and like, does this fit that way? And well, and I think with the Chinese, you're looking at an economic model that, I mean, that is a mean machine for economic global war because they
Hmm.
actually have a true merit system where it's like in the United States, you're an idiot if you go into government.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Like
Like, you're
why
an
would you
idiot.
make yeah, like if you hear like a lot of people that go to the best universities and that, it's like, well, why would I make like 100 grand at the FBI when I can make like 500,000 at Goldman Sachs?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like,
Whereas,
and that's where capitalism is failing, kind of, because you can't, in a more socialized society, when it's like everyone gets just what they do, basically, you know what I mean? Like you share, trade, like jobs like that are way more vital because they do, like police officers, CIA, all that. You know what I mean? They become way more vital in a socialized economic society
well, yeah, because they're kind of intertwined, like
with everything
that
else.
prestige. Yeah, so like if
One,
you're a
like,
top economics guy in China, you are in the government.
yeah, and like here, if you're a talk top economics guy, you could be a top economics guy and work at Harvard.
Yep,
Like that's
yep,
stupid. That's so
yep,
stupid.
exactly. Like, or you work at just yeah, you work at one of these um consulting firms or
Yeah,
advisory
like our top
agencies or
economic dude right now for Trump is works at JP Morgan.
yep, yep,
Like
exactly, exactly.
he works at JP Morgan. Like what do you what do
And
you
I think that
mean?
that's the argument is, well, I guess as we're talking about it, is Trump, I mean, everybody keeps making the jokes, but, Mao, yeah, is he trying to duplicate the Chinese model here?
Yeah, the Mao.
Yeah, like, is he trying to do this whole, like, well, the government, which
JD
is,
Pondon,
I would
dude.
argue is maybe a little fascistic. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, would you do the joining of corporation and state, which is what China has, which is very formidable, but it also does come with the authoritarian trade-offs, except in the United States right now, if you criticize Israel, or
Yeah,
if
deported.
you yes,
And it's
yeah,
like, what do you
exactly.
mean? That's crazy. At least
Yeah,
in
so
China,
even though
it's
I
just
would
their
say
own government, At least they're just like they're consistent about it. Like
true. Yeah, true.
you don't talk about top G, top G.
Yeah, you don't talk about Winnie Pooh like that, all
You don't
right?
do it.
You do
Just
not
don't
talk
do
about.
it.
Oh no, I think they're still like awful and authoritarian and blah 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 blah. But
No,
when it comes
yeah,
to like a global trade war thing, I
that's the
think you're
thing
playing a
too.
pretty dangerous game
Yeah,
economically. We just need a revamp,
hmm,
which I guess is the argument. But Trump is not. I don't
yeah.
know what he's doing.
That's the thing I like with China. I don't agree with like the authoritarian stuff and not being able to speak out against the government. I don't like that. But I definitely like the way they've built up their country and their economy and stuff. I do really like because it is
Oh,
built
it's
to
very
survive
impressive.
stuff like this now.
No, you're right.
Go from
Like
like
they
they can centralize, and I don't think the U.S. expects them to be able to. Which is weird that our government can't figure that out, but our citizens can. I don't. It's weird. Our
I
citizens are like
think
it's
that's
so obvious that they can.
that is a very good point, and I've heard people talk about this before, which is our current problem in the United States that we just can't get the right people in there. Like it has nothing to do with we know what to do. There's actually a
Yeah,
lot of very smart people that are coming up with better economic models in the exact universities that we're talking about every day, but to
yeah.
get
They don't have
them
the
into the
charisma.
positions of
Is the
power.
problem?
Yeah.
Charisma is such a
Yeah.
massive play into getting into the presidency, the Senate. That's why Obama was president. He was like Democratic gold mine for charismatic and being just like motivating the base. And they haven't had anyone like
Well,
that since.
yeah, no, you're right. Like he is super well spoken and knows kind of how to read a room for the most part. And the scary part with China is if they kind of overtake us as an economic model, then you will kind of push. We need to come up with which there are proposed solutions for it, like I was saying, of a slightly more decentralized version of what China is doing.
Yeah.
Because what's the quote? I can't remember who came up with the quote, but like, you show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome,
Yeah. I
which
don't know who
is
said that, but I've heard that
basically,
too. I think that's true because I think Trump doesn't have anyone that's showing him the right stuff either. I really think it's Russell Vaught, because he's very high up. I didn't realize how high of a position he actually did have.
I didn't
And his
either. I didn't
economic
either.
like value, like what we're doing is what he economically wants, and it's horrible. All he wants to do is make the
Hey,
U.S. money, and it's just not
yep.
gonna work because the rest of the globe has to fall in line. How are you gonna do that? Because they're not gonna.
The art of the deal, baby. We
The
got
art of the
90
deal.
days.
90
90
do it.
days, 90 deals. That's super funny.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think that, well, and I was, this is another big argument to the whole, I put it in the notes, but kind of the American decentralized model of everything's crazy and you're kind of always up to date versus like the Chinese model takes into account decades.
Yeah. Hmm. Like even when Xi Jinping took power, like what he was talking about, he knew it was going to take decades. Like he wasn't planning
Yeah.
for let's just let it go. You know what I mean? He was saying these plans are going to take a long time,
Which
but
maybe
they're
that's why
starting to
Trump is saying
work.
he needs a third term.
Yeah, but we'll have to see how this goes.
Yeah,
Although
that's
he'll be
why it
so old at that
scares me a
point,
little
I don't
bit.
know if he can do it.
I think he's trolling. I
I do
really, really
too.
hope so.
I do too, because I don't think it's a good standard to set or even to get
No, I
rid
think
of.
it, yeah, it's a horrible precedent to
Because
set,
then for
and it's
me and you, we might
horrible.
only get like one or two presidents more in our lifetimes if they do that. Like straight up.
True. True.
When
Yeah,
we're
you're
shit, we
right.
get like 10 more.
And if you only get 10 more presidents, then But then maybe that's the argument though. Is like, well, if we have 10 presidents, but then China just has like two, are they better off?
Mm-hmm. That's the
Like,
problem though with the arguing with authoritarianism is if Xi Jinping is like he's done great so far, but he still has done the ethical ethical genocide of the
Uyghurs and
yeah. Mm-hmm.
like a
Like
lot of the
he just tried to like basically trying to kill their culture, all that. Like he did all that bad stuff, but so it's like there's always a risk when you put an authoritarian in because what if they end up with like a Hitler, Then you're screwed.
no, exactly. No, and that's why you can't. Yeah, you can't ultimately have that. That's why. I mean, we'll see what happens. Maybe this really is as we're kind of talking about. I hadn't had the thought, but maybe this is truly Trump's attempt to kind of bring more of that Chinese economic model sort of to the United States. Maybe this
Yeah.
like federal influence over like a more of a centralized planning. I mean, did you hear Scott Bassett? His
What'd he say?
he was on Tucker Carlson, and he was like, "What we're doing is we're trying to give more work back to the middle class. We're doing and then he kind of smiles because he knows, and he's like, we're doing a redistribution, for a lack of a better term, of wealth." And I was like, dude, you are doing a redistribution. This is inherently a more kind of communist argument. So
Yeah.
like maybe that really is the strategy. Maybe
Yeah,
they
it
really
is.
truly are like, well, we have to be a little bit more like the Chinese.
Yeah, true. I just think the only problem with Trump is that I think he just wants it too fast. Even the top
Yep.
working advisors have said it's going to take at least 3 years, and they say that's at minimum. They say it's probably going to be longer.
Yeah, to get like any factories online, and
Yeah.
then you could argue like, well, the Chips Act was passed. Maybe that's it. Maybe he's just trying to create that type of environment. Maybe he really thinks he's going to be able to parlay it
Yeah.
into another 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and hey, with how the Democrats are acting like right now, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
They haven't done
even with
anything.
how awful, exactly, with how awful, well, how awful everything, I think everybody's
Yeah.
being a little hyperbolic on that. No one knows like the true long-term consequences. Yeah, we could be sitting here a year later and be like, oh man,
Yeah.
he actually really did do the greatest
Mm-hmm.
economic deals in the history of the country over like a
Yeah.
90-day period. Like, I don't know
We'll
how
see. Yeah.
likely that is, but
Yeah. I wouldn't be. The scary part too is, did you see that Trump like he tweeted? Like I think it was yesterday when he paused the tariffs. He's like, "Now's a great time to buy," and then he paused them 3 hours later. And there was even like a
yeah,
meeting of him talking to his friends, like he made this much, he made this much. It's like Trump.
yeah, I saw a lot of
Like
that
Trump,
with
that's
the
not
insider
normal.
trading stuff.
Apparently, Trump made
Yeah,
four
like,
hundred and fifty million dollars himself.
damn. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean,
Yeah.
and that is kind of the whole incentive thing I was talking about, where it's like, with China, if you're a top person in the Communist Party, like you make bank,
Oh yeah.
because it's kind of all a
Mm-hmm.
combo of, but at the same time, it's kind of one of those things like, well, should that be the case though? Like,
Yeah.
should that be a thing in the United States? Because right now, currently, those politicians are still getting money. Those
Mm-hmm.
politicians are still getting
China
paid. But
too.
like,
When they're that rich too,
yes,
though, and they get that high, a lot of time they just disappear. If they get
true.
way too
Nah.
rich, like billions, they're just like one day we're just like, where'd they go? And they're like, what do you mean? Who are you talking
Well, and that
about?
is a very good point. Yeah, like seizing of assets and that. No, I definitely lean more small government. I
But
don't
I
even know if I
do see. I
necessarily
don't
agree
even
with them
like. I'm
moving
not
in
even
that model.
anti-China because I do like China. I actually do. Yeah, I'm.
Oh no.
You've heard. I am like. I don't like what they've done. Like all the. There's always bad with every government is the problem. But I do
Yeah.
think that we should take some of their models and fix and centralize our economy. And one thing I wish we would take from all the Asian countries is public transport. For the love of
Oh God.
God.
Yeah, we've talked about this, and it's the whole like, well, it's a bigger country, blah blah blah. I'm
Hmm.
like, yeah, we're not
I
saying
know,
that.
and
Yeah, I know I'm not gonna have a high speed rail going through every single
yeah.
small town in America, but
But like at least the majors, like there could be a small town rail that's like I don't know, Vegas takes you to San Francisco.
yeah,
Why
you're
is
right. You
that
cannot
bad?
make an argument for like an LA to Chicago to New York train
Yeah.
system wouldn't be like instantly beneficial to
Yeah,
the United States
everyone.
government.
It'd be beneficial
Yeah.
to everyone. That's how much money they would make because of public transport. Like, yeah, they make a lot of money off cars, but now imagine you're making that every like money daily because people have to transport. I mean,
Yeah.
the
No,
insurance
you're right.
companies and car companies get mad, but screw them.
Well, and like the liability. I think that's the problem. I think the problem is anytime you want to make a change on anything, everybody goes, well, yeah, but how are you going to make a change because of like this industry, or how are you going to make a change because of this lobby? And it's like, guys, I don't
I
know
hate to
how
say this. I hate to
I
say
don't know
this.
what to do.
Well, it's basically like, what about this company and stuff? It's basically, I hate to say it, but some stuff's got to go. Like, some stuff is gonna
Yeah.
die off in the future. Like, people don't want to
Yeah.
hear that. Like, I would almost bet money in 100 years, fossil fueling's close to dead. I bet that starts transferring to other energy.
And I think that is a good thing to bring up because that's really sad. I think that's really sad that if somebody brings up like fission or fusion or nuclear, any new type of like, or, oh man, this guy made like a water car. It's like, well, you're gonna die. Or if you, oh, this guy found the cure to cancer. Oh, well, you're gonna die. Like I
Yeah.
think the populace of the United States is correct, and that they have a general sense of these corporations are controlling our lives in a negative way. And like the whole idea behind capitalism is like cheap goods and innovation, but if you cut off the innovation part,
And the cheap goods. Because they've
yes,
cut
and
off
the
the cheap goods. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
then
It's
you're
like,
kind of
what
breaking the
benefit
social
do you
contract.
get? And it's like, well, what benefit from socialism? And like what China's doing, it's like, well, at least they have their food. They have medical care. They have all. I mean, the medical care is not,
Well, and it's like what's the benefit compared to China? It's like, well, they're growing.
Yeah, they have public transport. Most of their
Like we're starting to stagnate.
their homelessness is way lower than ours. They still have it, but it's way lower than our crap.
Oh, of course, which a lot of people in the US, choose to be. I shouldn't say a lot. I'm sorry, but I should say there are some homeless in the United States that choose to be because in the United
Mhm.
States there's a lot of warmer areas and it's kind of easier to be homeless than maybe in like
Yeah.
China. But
I really
like,
think our government just ignores them too. Like they
yeah,
don't ever talk. And then like the one time they did, Trump's like, we need to move them out of the Washington D.C. area. When it was like for the inauguration, he's like, they need to be moved out of the area. That's all they cared. They just need to be moved. Didn't care.
yep. Or when Xi Jinping came to San Francisco, it's like all of a sudden,
They're all
oh,
gone.
all of a sudden San Francisco, yeah. Oh, they actually fixed
The
homeless
worst
problem.
homeless
That's actually
place is just fixed.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay.
And how much money have they spent in California? Like $40 billion on fixing the homelessness crisis or
They
something.
spent like
And what,
they spent
where'd
like
it go?
$20 billion on benches for homeless, and they didn't even do them. Nobody even knows where the money went. They approved
Really?
$20 billion for like these
it makes
benches for
sense that
homeless.
It would be
They would like make
yeah.
it better for them to like sleep on. That they never did them. They're just
like,
gone.
actually, psych. What if we made benches that have like 3 metal brackets?
Yeah,
running
and that's
across
what
the
they
seat
did.
and
That's what
sleep
they
on
put
it?
on them. Then they started doing that. It's
Oh,
like,
I've seen it.
that's so stupid to me too. It's like you're that. Like, you don't want to sleep on a bench that bad. Like that's pathetic. Nobody wants to be
Yeah,
on a
it
bench at
really
3
is.
a.m. Anyways.
Yeah, like, dude. Yeah, does that bench really need to be occupied at
Yeah.
night? Like, is
No.
that really making it like, oh well, during the day people need to. That the homelessness thing is really sad. We're in a bad spot. We're in a
Mhm.
tricky spot because we have any type of government solution just gets eaten and gobbled up, and that money
Yeah.
disappears.
Or
And then a lot of
one side
corporations are
hates it
stifling.
and they're like, nope, needs to be bipartisan. And
Yeah.
then the bill gets just
True.
ruined.
True, but that's by design. Like they're
Yeah.
both in on it though. They're
Mhm.
both in on the take, which was kind of the idea behind Trump is like, well, he's not in on the take. He's kind of like here to destroy this globalist order. And he did have some of that language. Like that's what's sad about it. Is like the
Mhm.
person that could have the solution would say something like the military industrial complex is ruining the country. They would say something like RFK's been saying about
Mhm.
the regulatory agencies. It's a
Yeah.
revolving door between like, and that is a problem. Like,
Yeah, but then
all
he
the people
goes
that
and
work at
like
the IRS work at
increases the
Goldman Sachs.
budget, and then increases the
Oh.
defense budget. And it's like, well, that's not what you said.
Nope.
And
Nope,
he even started
exactly.
off his first few days like every country should lower their defense budget by 8% for the next 4 years. Where the hell did that go?
Yeah, he said
He
he wanted to
literally said
start
that
like
on
cutting down
TV.
on nuclear arms.
Yeah, he said every country should agree we should start lowering our defense budgets. He's like, so we can have a safe world. Raises it by like 25%. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah, like what are you talking about? Like, and
Yeah.
that's because they keep talking about going to war with Iran, which is crazy because I don't know if you remember. Do you remember when those tapes leaked of Trump and the documents, and they were saying that like, they were saying that Trump kept documents that were supposed to be classified or
Oh
something. He was
yeah.
exposing them. Now it's one of the funniest tapes ever because if you listen to him, he's like, "Nah, I'm not supposed to have this." So like, he basically says something along the lines of like, "I'm not supposed to show this to you, but here, check this out."
Dude, did
So
you
I
see he did
mean,
it again? He took
oh
documents
really?
again to Mar-a-Lago.
Which, the president is kind of
Yeah.
allowed to
Do
do that. But
that.
what's funny is that the media ignored what he was saying on tape. They do this all the time. Well,
Hmm.
they did the same thing with Signal. Oh, isn't it dumb that blah, 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 blah. Like he leaked the signal. It's
Yeah.
like, well, isn't it crazy that we're just bombing all these people for no reason?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with the Trump documents case. So if you haven't heard the tape, he's saying the reason that he kept those documents is because in those documents it says that they wanted him to go to war with Iran, and he kept it as proof that he didn't want to go to
Mm.
war with Iran.
I didn't know that.
So they missed the
Yeah, I
story.
didn't
Yeah,
hear that.
exactly, because a lot of people, haven't heard the full
Yeah.
cut.
Well, it's
So then they're
obvious
like, "Oh, well,
now. Because look at how we
yes."
are with Iran. I thought we
But
were going to
that's
go to
the
war with
thing.
Iran for a while, and I didn't want
Why
to.
is he going along with it?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Is
Because
his
that
age
was
starting to show?
mm,
Or he's just like,
mm.
eh.
I think that could be a part of it. I
Or
mean, if
is
you
he
watch him
that,
compared to
like, I know,
2016.
is he that much of, like, is he that much of a bitch that he lost in 2020 that he's like, I'm just going to mess everything up? You know what I mean? Because
Well, he still believes that he didn't lose, but
yeah.
yeah, maybe it's kind of like I don't know if he has a vengeance
Because every
towards like
time,
the people type of
I
thing,
know.
but
Because every time it's like, they're like the stock market. Like, they brought it up the other day. He brought up Biden. Just out of nowhere, brought up Biden. He's like, I'm doing so much better than Biden would have done. Trust me. It's like, dude, we don't care about Biden anymore. We don't
yeah,
give a
like
shit.
we're a few months in now.
Yeah.
I understand that that's a part of the messaging is like take the medicine, like you said the other day. Like
Yeah.
we're sometimes the medicine hurts,
Hurts. Yeah.
which you didn't, but like which I understand it is a little tricky
Mhm.
to run on that type of thing because people love their stuff, and who knows, maybe he executes and this actually pushes us in the new economic direction of the country and JD Vance wins and then he runs for two terms and we just have 12 years of Trump Gaza and beautiful
Yeah.
economic harmony, but
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
hard to see right
I'm a
now.
little skeptical.
Yeah.
I'm a little skeptical.
Because he's just going back on so much, and he's just doing so much crazy shit. Like, Trump
If we go to
Gaza
war
was
with Iran, I'll be
crazy.
pissed.
Yeah. It's going to be so stupid. And they never even mentioned Iran when they were running. No one did.
Nope.
Now they're like, we
Nope.
need to go to
No
war with
one
Iran.
did. Yeah, why?
Why?
Why? Because Bibi Netanyahu wants you to.
And there's going to be
like,
worse casualties. I'm telling you, if we go there massively, it's going to be worse than Vietnam. Iran
dude,
can
it
fight.
is our next
Their
Vietnam,
military
100%.
equipment is good. Like, they're
Dude,
not.
they're way better.
Yeah, they're way. They'd be like, they'd probably be the most modernized army the U.S. has fought in a long time.
Yeah, they're
By
way better
far.
than Afghanistan or Iraq or like any of the yes.
Yeah, way more military. So, and they're definitely they're by far the strongest army in the Middle East too. Like, no one can touch Iran.
Yeah, they are
Well,
literally
besides
the
Israel
vassal
with
state
US
and
aid.
funder. Well, yeah, they love to interfere, but that's the thing is we did that, Tyron.
Yeah.
I mean, we backed the mullahs, I believe, in
Mm-hmm.
the 70s. The CIA backed the coup to let a more
Dude, we're responsible for
authoritarian-
like almost everything in the Middle East. It's pretty bad. We trained all the
Yeah.
terrorist groups with Reagan. Reagan was like, watch
Yep.
this, guys. Watch what I do.
Yep.
Trained all of them. 9/11.
Yes, because we dragged the Soviet Union into Afghanistan because we wanted to
Yeah.
give them their own Vietnam, which hope you're happy. Like the cost of collapsing the Soviet Union was 9/11. You could
Yeah.
argue, but that's the thing is, would it have collapsed anyways, even if we didn't get
Hmm.
the Soviets involved?
Yeah, I don't
In,
know.
you know,
Potential. I don't. It's crazy to think about. That's like an alternate history.
it
Uh-huh.
is, and it's tough to get into a lot of that
Yeah.
alternate history stuff. But that's the thing is, people love to get into alternate history on like defending the U.S. And it's like
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we couldn't have been more evil, but I'm
Mm.
also saying that for the past 50 years, we've definitely been
Pretty.
perpetuating a
Yeah.
lot
Oh,
of evil
yeah.
and haven't been
Tony,
coming
you,
up with
you
a lot of
search
great
up like what
solutions.
has the CIA gotten involved with, and you're just scrolling. You're just sitting there
Yeah,
scrolling
and that's
down
stuff
and
they
down and
admitted
down.
to.
Yeah, and we don't even know what they haven't. Like we just figured out the other day from the JFK release, they were involved in the what was it? Like Romanian or something coup. I can't remember what
Yeah.
country.
I mean, it's hard to keep up. It
Yeah,
really
there's
is
too
hard to
many.
keep track. Like
Hmm.
if anybody's interested in looking later,
Yeah.
like look up
Uh,
just CIA coup, and you
oh
could
yeah.
probably find just half, like a lot of
Hmm.
countries. Like, oh,
It's bad.
yeah,
Coming up on the.
it's crazy.
Coming up on the hour
Yes,
mark too.
yeah. Yeah, no, I saw that, so I was thinking that we'll probably have to start wrapping it up. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, thanks for stopping in, everybody. We were, a little all over the place again,
Yeah.
but I think the ultimate message is we'll see. Hopefully they know
Hopefully
what
this
they're
isn't as
doing.
crazy as it seems, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not super confident.
Yeah.
So thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll probably see you next week.
Hell yeah.